Hi, my name is Joel Elliott. I am stuck in Huntsville, Alabama. That's right there in the map. I am the host of a show called A Conversation. Now, my co-host, Eloisa, she is a medical professional in Italy, and we typically have conversations about mental health. We're having trouble coordinating our schedules, and so the conversation today is going to be between me and my mother. The conversation is not happening in real time. My mother and I have a very complicated relationship. Let me set this up for you. When I was a child, really, I started kind of withdrawing from my parents, and I don't blame them for, you know, for the distance that we've had, because I certainly played a part. Like I isolated as a child and I hid away and just kind of did my own thing, and they did their own thing. And she was involved. She was very heavily involved in my life, but we were pretty distant from each other from an early age on my part. When I got married, the marriage was, in a nutshell, abusive. It was a controlling marriage. This dynamic formed wherein my wife at the time and my mother both despised each other and considered each other to be toxic to my life, and would urge me to leave the other, whichever. The wife was like, "You are not allowed to talk to your mother anymore." I would get very, very punished if she found communications between me and my mother on my phone or email or anything, because she looked through all of my accounts. And my mother lamented the fact that I was with an abusive spouse, and, over the years gave up on our relationship because I refused to leave the abusive situation I was in. And so, each of them is demanding loyalty and I'm in the middle, trying to appease both of them and failing at appeasing both of them. That was my life for almost 10 years. And it was not healthy, to say the least. But so, my mother gave up on me a long time ago, and I don't blame her for that. I stayed in a relationship that literally almost killed me. Like, literally almost killed me. Instead, I ended up in jail for a couple of months, and then homeless for a couple of months, and then I got back on my feet. And, now I am where I am today, where I've lost my income, and, I'm indoors, but not in a great position right now. So, okay, we've caught up to today. My mother and I hadn't spoken for about a year and a half-ish. On my birthday in 2014. Yes, 14. 15. 2015, on my birthday, a letter came from my mother, and the only other person who's read this is my friend Patrick, but, he could tell you the tone of the letter. It's basically you only call me when you're homeless, and, which is, okay, that's fair. Like, when I was with the abusive spouse, I did not communicate very much with my mother at all, and when I was in jail, I did, and, and after jail, when I was homeless, I did, and my mother did support me, and, first she said, just go to a fucking shelter, fuck you, and then I called my friend Bob, and I was like, my mom just hung up on me, and I'm stuck in the Deep South, and I don't know what to do, and Bob texted her, and then she called me back, and she said she was sending money. I don't know what the hell they talked about. That's what happened when I first hit the skids. That was very confusing, but so on my birthday, I got a letter from my mother that said, like, you only call me when you're homeless, and we don't have a relationship, and I'm putting it in your hands, and the guilt that she was sending my way, I didn't know how to respond to that, and so I just didn't. And for some reason, as I was recording A Courtship, the web series, which you can see on the YouTube or the Facebook or the everywhere, A Courtship, when I was filming that, I sent her a link to the post-traumatic stress disorder episode of the intermission portion of that show. And, she sent me a terse response, because we hadn't spoken in like a year and a half, and so I was kind of expecting a terse response. But then, because of that, we started attempting communication again, but communication in our very passive-aggressive way. And so, this episode of the conversation, I'm going to just, read to you some of the interactions that we've had recently. On April 25th, I sent to my mother this message, which was a little sternly worded. I said, Janet, sorry that I called, because, okay, now this is because I had sent her an email following up after her terse response to the episode that I had sent her, and I had gotten nothing back. And it was because it was stuck in her iPad. She just hadn't seen it yet. So then I had sent a follow-up message just in exasperation, and this is what it said. I said, Janet, sorry that I caused such disgust in you. I thought we had been in touch prior to the breakup letter that you sent on my birthday. We had spoken just a week or two prior to its arrival. I should have been working to fix the relationship since childhood, and I guess I failed, which is why you aren't interested in a relationship. These are all assumptions anyway, since I'm talking to myself. I'm sorry about whatever is wrong with me that you need to avoid communication. Your terse response tells me you and I don't know each other at all, nor are you interested in having a dialogue, since you're waiting for me to quote-unquote get help. I tried. Kind regards, Joel. Yeah, okay. Pretty passive-aggressive, yes. Or just flat-out aggressive, I'm not even sure. But okay, so this is her response when she finally finds it on May 6th. She says, Dear Joel, I have just found this in your prior email in my inbox on my iPad. These are not on my iPhone, which is where I read my email most of the time. I don't know why my mail is out of sync between these two devices. First of all, you are the one who, over the years, hasn't kept in touch with me. Unless you want money. That's okay. I get that. I get that. Typically it wasn't unless things were awful that I would reach out to her, and that's fair. She says, you moved to Huntsville without telling me until months later. Well, this letter I sent on your birthday was... The letter I sent on your birthday was in response to not having Christmas or my birthday or New Year's Day acknowledged after I thought we were beginning to reestablish our relationship. The letter was not in any way a breakup letter. It was simply letting you know that I love you and I want a relationship but will not force one on you. I said I would reciprocate. Until your email from 2 weeks ago, I had not heard from you in a year and almost 4 months. I am not avoiding communication, and you do not cause disgust in me as you indicate. However, since I hear from you less than once a year, I don't see where you are trying to fix our relationship. Yes, you are making assumptions that, given my written and verbal dialogue, are unfounded. I do agree with you, we don't know each other at all. The link you sent in your first email mentioned that my mother pleads with me to go on disability. How is this possible when we weren't even speaking? I was referring to years ago she's asked me to go on disability. She's very convinced that I am way less functional than I am, and I agree, yes, I am not very functional, but, I don't know. There's always a certain mark of drama in how she sees her son and her son's capabilities. How is this blog? We weren't even speaking. I do not work, she works at SSA and was talking about qualifications. Okay. I need to know that you are getting help before our dialogue is actually real communication. Your video underscores the fact that I am unable to help you. I encourage you to look for support groups to attend until you are in a position to afford individual counseling. I do love you, Joel, but it seems that you don't believe me. Love, Mom. It's just there were a few things in that, like actual communication, and the fact that it is my responsibility to create communication between us. It's like, if we haven't contacted each other, we are both failing at communicating. But it's my responsibility. I'm sorry. That's an issue that I have with that language. So, my response to all of that was, prior to the letter you sent at the start of 2015, I had found a small amount of stability in working at a software company and living with Patrick and Tara, so I thought I had logged hours of not asking for money, such that you could consider our communications to be quote-unquote actual. The religious holidays have always been about you, and the guilt of not doing enough to acknowledge you when they arrive, and I had a feeling that is why you sent such a dramatically worded letter to me on my birthday. I couldn't reward that behavior with a response, so I stopped communicating. I understand that it is I who fails at being a son. I understand that you love me in your way, and that our relationship depended upon me putting in the effort. I'm sorry to have failed to be what you needed. Tomorrow is a scheduled holiday, Mother's Day. And I'm sure it is a difficult one as the result of my failings. I am not in a position to send flowers, but I do love you, and I do understand that you love me. Kind regards, Joel Elliott. Again, very passive-aggressive. I take some stern tones with her. And so when I get the stern tones back, I do not blame her. I really don't. It's just, all of the responsibility for our relationship seems to be mine, and not hers. And she goes to a therapist and talks about me and what help I need. That's not why you go to therapy. Okay, her response to this passive-aggressive note that I just read is, Joel, you are the only one who views yourself as a failure. I have never thought that about you or said that about you because it is not true. You have great potential, but I do understand from reading all about BPD that without the therapy you need, it will be hard for you to use that potential. You are the only who can determine your future. The only one is what she knows. Control your behavior and work on getting the help you need. Unfortunately, no one can do that for you. I know this. Okay. Birthdays are not religious holidays, nor is the Mother's Day holiday tomorrow. I have only desired an acknowledgement of these occasions verbally as some kind of indication that there may be love for me on your part. You choose not to do so. Yes, our relationship does depend on having you put some effort into it, because with no effort on your part, this relationship is totally one-sided. You are now an independent adult and may choose to have a relationship with me or not. Only contacting me when you want money is treating me like I'm just a bank. I am tapped out. I get that. Again, like I said before the breakup letter, we were communicating like normal adults. And then I didn't acknowledge some holidays, and whoa, it was like one-page breakup letter comes. Alright, I'm sorry. The end of her message. If you feel that my correspondence is dramatically worded, you should know that I write quote-unquote dramatically, because I want you to hear my words, and I believe that this is the only way for you to hear them. From what you've just written, it seems that we do love each other, each in our own way, but our ways are conflicting. Love, Mom. And so I respond, I suppose so. I apologize once again for not proving my feelings by contacting you during the 2014 holiday season. And she responds, apology accepted. In childhood, I hated Christmas, despised Thanksgiving. I hated Thanksgiving and Christmas because my mother would become the most anxious person on those holidays. And as an adult, this remained the case. And if I do not acknowledge these things, then, oh my God, I have ruined her life again. Again, I ruined her life. I'm just saying, I'm not certain that I became a dramatic person on my own. That is what I'm saying. Okay, so you see the passive-aggressive way that we communicated with each other, my mother and I. Now let's hear a tonal shift. The terse response to the PTSD show that I had referred to earlier in this program was, Joel, I found your video to be enlightening. I hope you get the help you need so we can begin to talk. I'm a 37-year-old man, and my mother's saying, hopefully we can begin to talk. It's like, shit, that ship has sailed. But okay, yeah, I get it. My response to that terse thing was, the film project, I believe, was a grief response to losing my job as content marketing coordinator at Sharp Auction Engine. I have a few pro bono clients for social media consulting, but thus far no revenue. Still looking for gigs. Since losing the job, I've bartended, mowed grass, and moved furniture to stop the bleeding. I also made that film series. Kind regards, your son. She responds, Hi, Joel. A couple things. First, when I updated software on my iPad, it seems to have changed my email address to being from the iCloud.com. If you want to email me, my email address is her address. Also, you mentioned making a film series. The link you sent me was to only one film titled PTSD. I didn't see anything else, so if you want me to see your film series, please send a link to it/them. Love, Mom. We go back and forth, and have, since I was a child to this present day. We go back and forth between tense, angry, bitter, passive-aggressive conversation, and perfectly normal, even tones. And I don't see that changing. She doesn't see it changing unless only I get help. I don't see it changing unless everyone takes responsibility for each of their behaviors. But that is just my opinion, and this has been a conversation.